we built an industry based on this thing nobody even knew before. We built, ClickFunnels, we've done over $1 billion in sales on our platform ourselves. Our clients have done like 14, 15 billion in sales on the platform. It's just like, because I was obsessed with this nerdy thing that no one cared about. Like, be obsessed and be okay with it and become the best in the world at what you're doing.
Innovative, magnetic, strategic. Our guest today is a digital pioneer who transformed the way entrepreneurs sell online.
ClickFunnels' mission is to liberate and educate the world.
Russell Brunson is the co-founder of ClickFunnels.
Instead of creating a software, we wanted to create a movement.
A $360 million platform that revolutionized internet marketing.
The concept of like, you're one funnel away from being rich.
And he empowered over 100,000 businesses to scale with ease.
Strive for the impossible, the unheard of, the absurd dreams you've always had.
At the age of 15, Russell was launched into the world of online marketing, where he found viral success making videos about selling potato guns. Now, Russell is a New York Times best-selling author, whose writings have become a go-to playbook for marketers, creators, and CEOs around the world.
I started my very first book, which is DotCom Secrets.
His books, DotCom Secrets, Expert Secrets, and Traffic Secrets, have sold millions of copies and reshaped the world of online entrepreneurship. He shared stages and strategies with legends like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. Through his connections, he's built a loyal community of funnel hackers who follow his every move.
Greatest motivation in business, it comes from seeing the results of the people you're trying to help.
He also hosts top business podcasts such as Marketing Secrets and The Russell Brunson Show, commanding an audience of millions across platforms. Russell believes that the right message delivered to the right people can change lives. And ClickFunnels, his unique marketing system, is the most powerful tool for making that happen. Get ready. This conversation will change the way you think about sales, marketing, and storytelling.
Yeah!
All right, guys, welcome back to the Mellow Millionaire. Today is a great day. It's been a fantastic day. I got Russell Brunson in the house. This dude is fantastic. Like, if you don't know who Russell Brunson is, you don't understand the marketing side of your business. Marketing is more important than sales. It's more important than anything. You've got to get the phones ringing. You got to get the clicks. Russell has built a global empire by mastering the art of the sales funnel. So how did you become so fascinated with funnels? And I know a lot of people that work on funnel hacking and just figuring out how to make the phone ring.
25 years ago, before Facebook, Instagram, before MySpace, like, we were trying to figure out how to make money online while I was in college. And it was weird because, like, there was not all these people teaching this. It was a different world, right? And so we just tried a lot of things, and some things worked and some things didn't. And one of my first businesses I had was teaching people how to make potato guns. That was my first thing. And then, like, I had a DVD teaching people to make potato guns. And so I set up a landing page. We drove traffic to it, started making sales. And then that's where it all began. And then from there, it's like, well, how do we make this thing make more money? What does that look like? And then one of my friends was one of the first people ever do an upsell. And he calls me one day. He's like, dude, I had an upsell. And he's like, 1 out of 3 people are buying the next thing. I'm like, what? I'm like, how should I do that? He's like, well, you're selling the DVD. Like, what's the next thing somebody needs after they buy the potato gun DVD? I'm like, well, they got to go to Home Depot and buy the pipes and the glue and all that kind of stuff. He's like, sell them a kit. And I was like, all right. So I threw up a page, like, they buy the DVD, next page, like, for $200, buy a kit and I'll ship you all the stuff and you can make it. And sure enough, 1 out of 3 people bought that. And I was like, holy crap. And then we just started testing little things. And so for the next decade of my life, it was like, I would learn something, I would try it, and then my income would go up. And so for 10 years, like, that's what I was doing in a whole bunch of my own businesses, other people's businesses. And then about that time, I wrote my first book, DotCom Secrets, which is like, here's what we learned the last 10 years. Like, this is the playbook. And about the same time as when we built ClickFunnels, which made it easy. We have a whole company with 400 employees that do stuff, but my job is I'm in charge of the funnels, and that's still all I geek out on every day. I'm obsessed with it.
I get all your ads. I use ClickFunnels for several businesses. It's amazing. It makes it so easy. That's the idea, is the ease. What is it like for you? Because you're the guy, like, you're the ClickFunnel guy. Like, how do you feel? Is it a good feeling of, like, a little bit of fame? Is it weird? What is the feeling you get?
It's definitely weird, especially starting out, because I was trying to figure out how to make money. Because it's, I was a student athlete. I was wrestling. I'd just gotten married. I was doing the funnels behind the scenes. It was fun. But then, like, people started asking me, and then I would share stuff. And then that's when guys like that are like, hey, come speak at our event. Tell people what you're doing. I'm like, ah. And then you see someone who get excited, they understood it. When we launched ClickFunnels is when my whole world shifted. Like, it blew up. I mean, that company went from 0 to $100 million in 3 years. And it was just like, we were everywhere. We're speaking everywhere. It was just, it was chaos. And I enjoy it, but I love watching the people we train, like, go and do cool stuff. Like, that's more rewarding for me at this point,
No, 100%. And I love it too when the light bulb turns on. I did yesterday. I just did a virtual event. There was 150 people. Then I did another one. There was 500 people. And the questions were, you couldn't keep up. And I'm like, I get very excited. I'm like, this one little thing when somebody walks up to you and says, dude, I listened to one podcast or did this one thing. And that to me is like why I keep doing it, because it's hard to be on the road. But I asked you earlier that you've not necessarily building to sell this business. When is enough enough?
Yeah, we had an offer 4 years ago we could have sold. I remember Tony Robbins actually told me, he's like, so if you were to sell it, what would you do next? And I was like, I don't have something I like more than this I would rather do. So if I sell it, then it's gone. I came to serve, and this is the best vehicle I can serve people in. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're saying to me, like, we're not the kind of guys that are going to retire someday.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, I'm 42.
A lot of people are like, we're going to sell out and then we're going to retire. It's like, and then what? And it's like, then I'm going to build the next thing and the next thing. So it's like, I love the thing we built.
I want to talk about, I wrestled.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was a wrestler.
Very cool.
And I really like to hire wrestlers.
Yeah. Because
they take the ownership. They're just like, and then I like to hire team players. So they kind of grow into this team player. What did wrestling teach you? Like, because you're obviously super competitive if you wrestled.
Yeah. Wrestling taught me everything. Everyone's looking at you and you either win or you lose right in front of everyone, One of the biggest fears most entrepreneurs have is like, they're scared to, especially first-time entrepreneurs, they're scared to try something because if they failed, then they're a failure. And so for me, what wrestling, what sports taught me is that, like, if I fail, I'm not a failure. Like, one of my favorite stories about this, my junior year in high school, the start of the year, my goal is to be state champ. So first match of the season, I wrestle this guy, and he beats me. And I was just devastated because in my mind, I'm going to be state champ, and I just lost first match of the entire season. And I'm so lucky because my dad was awesome. Like, he filmed the match, and then I remember going home that night, and I went to bed just like feeling depressed and sorry for myself and everything. And my dad watched it over, like, all night long. My dad slept, the entire night. I wake up next morning, about to go to school, and he's like, Russell, come here. And we spent an hour drilling. And we did that every single day for the entire 4-month season. My dad would show up, we drill it. And so we go drill it again. We go out there in this match, and I wrestled this guy who, 4 months earlier beat me, and we have the same match, and this time I beat him. Win the state title. It's like, one of the greatest moments of my life. And I remember driving home in the car that night, and I had the thought of just like, oh my gosh, like, when I lost 4 months ago, I thought I was a failure. And I was like, no, and we came back and we drilled it, we fixed it, we fine-tuned things. And I think that's what I try to instill in my entrepreneurs, just like, okay, when you're creating a business or a funnel, whatever, like, throw it out there. But the problem with most entrepreneurs is they don't do the first version because they're so scared of failing. And I think that athletics and sports taught me just like you lose all the time in sports, right? And it's okay because, like, you go through that process, you learn a bunch, and then it's the tweaks and the changes, the iterations that make things win. Like our business now, like, we roll out a new offer, and we roll out a lot of offers, and we roll them out really, really fast. And I'm just like testing the market, like, see what happens. And then sometimes it's like, it's probably not gonna go anywhere. Other times it's like, okay, something's there. It didn't work the way we're supposed to, but now we know. And then we'll sit there and we'll tweak and we'll change and we'll tweak and we'll change. And our goal anytime we have new offers, like, how do we get the spot where we can spend $1 million a month in ads profitably on this offer? Like, that's like a winner for us, right? And so for us, it's like, okay, we did it, and it's like, there's numbers, and then tweaking, changing until we get to the spot where that's the numbers coming in, And so, I don't know, that's what athletics taught me. And I think for those who haven't been athletes, it's like learning that, like, if you fail, you're not a failure.
Failure is a good thing. Fail forward. I mean, look, I get on stages all the time, and I'm like, I'm the largest failure in this room, guaranteed. But it's by the time you're trying to load the gun, I've already missed the target 18 times.
Yeah.
And now I'm hitting the bullseye every time because I jump right in. And I jump in, and I'm like, and everybody goes, dude, that's not going to work. I'm like, you're right. It's not going to work, but we're going to get it to work because it's hard.
Yeah.
There's something in my DNA. I've got ADHD. I don't care about failing. I don't care about embarrassing myself. I'd stop caring about what other people think. To a certain extent, I care a lot about my fiance and my family. But do you think some people are born entrepreneurs?
There's a book I read a while ago called Driven. I don't know if you've read that book. It talks about there's like a gene.
There is a gene.
That people actually have that are more driven. Yeah. And I think somebody can learn to be entrepreneurial, but I definitely think that, like, there's some people are born with it, with that as a tendency, and some people aren't. One of my first mentors told me, he's like, there's two types of people in this world. There's starters and there's finishers. They figure out who you are and surround yourself with the others. And so I'm I think I'm one of the greatest starters of all time, and I've got like 400 finishers. Well, someone told me it's like we're like kites, but there's got to be like the integrator on the ground holding the string to make sure that we can like fly. Otherwise, we just like go off and like we're
That's a really
gone.
good analogy.
And I was like, that's how I feel sometimes. It wasn't for all the people around me that are holding the strings. I'd be a wreck. I'd be a nightmare.
It's so true, man. I can't agree more. It's like what I've learned to do is write things down, have systems that get really, really organized people around me.
Yeah.
So your digital marketing book trilogy has sold more than 500,000 copies worldwide.
Over to 1 million now.
It's over 1 million.
Yeah, 2 and 3 books sold over 1 million copies. So yeah.
What's your thought on when you write a book? What's the main reasoning behind it? Is it like a tripwire or whatever?
Kind of, but for me, it's like I believe every great movement throughout time started with a book, right? And so it's like giving people the playbook to understand how to play in your world, right? What Tony Robbins, like the books he's rolled out over the last decade, right? Like he wrote Money Master the Game. It was his first book he'd written in 20 years. But the goal was he had a big fund that he was trying to raise money for, right? So writes the book, teaching the strategies, launches the book, and I don't know the numbers. It's like, I think it's like $6 or $10 billion.
Readers are leaders, dude.
Yeah.
And taking the time. Jim Quick, I was on a podcast with him recently, blew my mind because I'm like, dude, I must be lazy. But what I've noticed is it's hard to be everything. There's 168 hours in a week. You can spend 50 sleeping, 50 working, 10 working out, still have 60 hours left for family if you watch Netflix, whatever. But how do you maintain, because I know you're a strong believer, you're a family man, you're excited about business, you're taking care of your fitness, you're learning all the time. How do you find yourself handling those?
Yeah. It's a good question. And first off, I do agree with you. Like, it's hard to be well-rounded. Most of the time is impossible, right? Everything great in my life came during times of radical imbalance, right? When we launched ClickFunnels, it was radical imbalance for a season. But then you can snap back to something more balanced. And so for me, it's just very much, it's like, I had to learn how to become very present in the thing that I'm doing right now. So like, literally when I get to my house, like I drive in my garage at night, and I come in the door, like I stop for a second before the door, and I'm just like, okay, like Russell Brunson, I'm leaving him here, and Russell's coming in the door. Like, it's two different people, right? I come in, and now I'm
it's an alter ego.
Husband. Yep, if I'm a husband, I'm a father. This is where I'm at. We had one of my mentors he wanted me and my team to do a time study.
Yep.
For
Yeah.
And for me, it was like I got done. I was like, wow, I got a lot done today. And everyone else on my team was like, yeah, I'm only working like an hour a day. I'm like, what? Like I couldn't fathom it. And they're like, yeah, like between all this stuff, like I'm only actually getting an hour. And for me, it's like I was the opposite. Like I was like, you look at my day, like it is jam packed. There's not time. I'm just like.
Yeah, there's no breaks. I mean, the calendar's lit up.
Yeah, and so I think that's what a lot of people understand is just like it's like compartmentalizing the environments, and then when you're in there, like you got to be, and that's how, at least for me, how I get a lot of stuff done.
No, 100%. Ed Milet has talked about he's built a workday into 6 hours, and he's got 3 workdays to year 1. And as much as I love the guy, I think he's so amazing. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to outwork anybody anymore. I've served my time. I want to out-delegate.
I've served my time, yeah.
I want to out-delegate, and I want to
good.
trust people, but I hold them to the highest standard of what I hold myself to. And I'm like, I'm not being tough on you. I'm way harder on myself. But I got 3 repeat questions, and we'll jump back into some more. These are what I ask everybody. So what's one game-changing piece of advice you wish you knew in your 20s?
This is actually something you mentioned earlier. It's based on one of Ben Hardy's books, but the who, not the how. For the first decade of my business, like I thought I had to be the guy who did everything. And it wasn't until one of my now business partners, Todd Dickerson, he was an employee of mine working on stuff. And then when we had the idea for ClickFunnels, he was like, I want to do this with you, but I don't want to do it as an employee. I want to do it as your partner. And I was like, but I'm the guy. Like I do everything. I'd never had a partner. Like, no, This is like, and it was funny because like he lives in Atlanta. I live in Boise. He was up in Boise for a week as we were planning the next thing we were going to create, and we had the idea for ClickFunnels. We mapped it out. And I'm driving back to the airport. That's when he tells me, he's just like, I don't want to do this as your employee. I want to do it as your partner. And it was all I'm literally dropping off the airport to say bye to him. And it's just like, what do I say? What do I say? And in that moment, I like literally it was the second best decision of my life outside of marrying my wife was like saying yes to him. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I realized now, like seeing now a decade later, like what we were able to create because he had ownership, because he was, all that stuff. It's like step number 1 now for me is like, who's the dream team we're assembling to be able to do the thing, and being okay giving away a lot of what we're doing as opposed to trying to keep and hoard it all myself.
Yeah.
Well,
Richard Branson does a great job because Me and you had to hire bottom up. We had to take the trash out, clean the toilets. We
Learn
were
all the
everything.
things,
I had to
yeah.
do inventory. I had to do payroll, which I can't stand. I used to have to do accounting and accounts receivable, and I hated it. And all of a sudden, I figured out, what if you hired top down? You got the best of the best.
Yeah.
And there's the EIP, Equity Incentive Program, Phantom Stock. Hey guys, pausing here to explain what an Equity Incentive Program is. Also known as an EIP. An EIP is a program that allows company employees the option to buy shares in the business. This means that as the company grows in value, so does the value of the employee shares. An EIP turns employees into partial owners, not just workers. So when the company does well, they directly benefit financially, often through stock options, restricted stock units, RSUs, or performance-based equity awards. It's a powerful way to create buy-in and long-term commitment from your team. My company, A1 Garage, instated this program a while ago, and it's one of the best things we've ever done. It gives company employees a shared purpose and motivation. Leave me a comment down below if you like an episode where I go into more detail about how I set up my EIP and how exactly it works. All right, back to the episode. This is like saying, what are your dreams? What do you want? And sometimes it's not money. If you really look and say, look, I'm here to, you could have anything you want in life if you just help enough people get what they want.
Yeah.
And that's
Zig
Zig. It's so true.
Yeah.
What millionaire habit sets you apart from the rest of us?
I think for me, it's obsession in a thing, right? Like I am not. It's funny. I always joke with my wife, like I'm really good at two things, and that's it. And I think I go really, really deep on, again, funnels. Like there's no one on this planet that's gone deeper than me on that. Like I know that better than anybody in the world. I think for most people, it's like they're trying to become super good at all the things, and everyone's like, "Well, I thought you were the CEO of your company." I'm like, yeah, but like, just because that's like the title, like I want to be building funnels, and so we built a company around where it's like I can still be like the thing, but like my day job is in the part that like I'm obsessed with. Like I wake up every morning, I get to think about it and talk about it and figure things out, and we're creating new things, and like it gives me the energy, and I think it's the obsession, so you can focus on the thing that gives you the most energy.
You know, that's so powerful because I walk at people like, why do you work so much? I'm like, I never go to work.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I had the
Do you know
best
what I do all
meeting.
day? Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm doing a podcast now with you. It's phenomenal. Like this isn't work. If you had to start over with $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
Oh, see, I'm a bootstrap guy. I've never taken money, never started money. I wouldn't even know what to do with $10 million. I would just
Throw it in the S&P
I'd put it in
500.
the bank and build a funnel, and then we'd launch it. Like, you know, like everything we've ever done has been it's all been sustainable up front. So I wouldn't even know what to do $10 million other than maybe use that to hire a dream team. Bring in very specific people for something.
I learned bigger lessons through time. Now I make a decision, and it's like you're going to spend $3 million. I'm like, I know but we've already tested it. Yeah. There's going to be a high probability of a massive return.
I see people who start business and they have some startup capital, or again, they go with SB loan, and they're buying office equipment, computers, desks. Like, what are you doing? Like,
work out of your house, work whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
You, I'm curious because I want to talk a little bit about sales funnels, but I'm a home service, home improvement guy. So I don't know if you could relate to that, but obviously, you know, there's this idea of building a thought in people's mind to remember who you are and let them get to know you. The Wizard of Ads, Roy Williams, talks about this a lot. He's like, it needs to be relational. So I talk a lot about my mom worked 3 jobs when I was a kid. You know, let them know who I am. There's got to be a figure at the top. So if you had to think about it more of a home improvement, home service, how would you think about offers and like ClickFunnels in a way that it applies to like a conventional business like this?
You know, one of the frameworks I teach all the time is hook, story, offer. I'm throwing out a hook to grab their attention so I can, just long enough I can like tell them a story, and the goal of the story is to increase the perceived value of the offer. And then the goal of the hook is to get them long enough I can tell them a story and then make them an offer, right? I think about this all the time, like, especially in the internet world, like people have their controlled environment where they control the thing. Like they're on their phone, they're on their computer, like they have these controlled environments where they're in charge. And for me to have the ability to persuade and influence, I need to move them out of those environments to a thing where I control the environment, right? Because the environment's like half of the game. And so it's like I'm pulling somebody from their computer to a webinar, to a 3-day challenge, to a live event, so I'd be trying to get somebody from that, whatever that is, to a spot where I can talk to them long form. So I'm trying to get them out of the environment they're comfortable, so it's an environment that I can actually control, right? So we move them.
I love that.
Now we have a different environment. Now sales percentages, conversions, everything shifts because now it's the reason why we do live events, right?
My first event, I got a great buddy of mine. He's doing 150 million in plumbing in Ohio. And he goes on stage, and I love the guy, but this is his first time. He's nervous as hell. He threw up in the back. And he's got this story about his son holding his son Chase up. They were living on his sister's couch, and his son would sleep on the couch. He'd sleep. I kind of get emotional thinking about it. But he told this story, and he held his son up and said, "This is not the life we're going to live." And I mean, I get teary-eyed thinking about it just because Chase just graduated. He's going to a master's degree. And everybody in that room was changed by that story of like, we're going to work no matter what. We're going to he went bankrupt twice, failed. And I'm like, everybody pull out your phones and look at your Google My Business page. And like, you know, I'm like teaching I'm like, this stuff will work. I promise you, this is going to change your life. Get a review on every job with a picture in it. And I'm going, it's still stuff I do. Like, I'm super tactical. I just learned something super important because I always invite those people that'll talk about like being happy with yourself. And I love telling stories, and that's what I wanted to ask you. I mean, I remember stories so well if someone's on stage and they tell me a great story. So I started really talking about stories. Like, I just listened to this the other day. When you should start out any speech, you should start out with once upon a time. And all of a sudden you're in that moment. And if you could have people put themselves in your shoes and really apply it to their own life. So with storytelling, how do you even craft that story and message?
Yeah, so that's like my big three event. This is what literally we talk about. Let's call it subconscious selling, because when you're selling to the masses, especially online, stuff like that, it's different than one-on-one, right? One-on-one, you have the opportunity to like ask them questions, get feedback, resolve their concerns. But you're speaking like one-to-many, you don't have that ability. So what we do when we're crafting a presentation, if it's a webinar or a challenge or a video set, whatever it is, right? The question I'm asking myself is like, what's the false belief they have inside their mind? And the false belief is a subconscious belief, right? And subconscious speaks in stories. So it's like, as soon as you tell them something, a story pops up in their head that's either positive or negative, that's like controlling whether they're going to listen to what you're saying, if they're going to buy, they're not going to buy. Like, that story just magically pops up as soon as you start saying something, right? No matter what I say, as soon as I start saying it, their subconscious is going to pop up a story about what they already believe. If that subconscious story is against me, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
And if I can tell the story in a more compelling way and I can convince them that my story trumps their story, the subconscious mind will literally take my story and replace their story with it. And I'm like, why do I not have that false belief? And it's like, oh, because this is what happened to me. I'm like, okay, that's the story I'm telling. And now they have a new story. Now they have a new belief, new story.
I love that.
In there, and now I own it. And so for me, it's like, what are the false beliefs? What are the story I have I can tell that replaces their false belief with the true belief that's empowering? And that's the game.
So this is genius. Walk me through. I'm a big whiteboarder, like big. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I write down on the whiteboard is, do you write the end goal? So, but my goal is to sell this, and do you reverse it? Like, if you were to just whiteboard with me.
Yeah, great question.
Like,
so
how would you start this?
I would start with, okay, so what's the result we're trying to get somebody, right? So if they buy my thing, this is the result. And then the second thing is like, what are all the other things that people are selling to try to get that result? Like all the other potential options, right? So for example, like people in my world come to me because they want to make more money on the internet, right? So it's like, there's a lot of ways to make money on the internet. You can sell stuff on eBay, you could do, like whatever.
Million things.
And I'm trying to convince you the funnel is the best way, right? So like that's my version. So then I break it down into like, there's three core groups. There's three core false beliefs that somebody will have when you're making a presentation. The first false belief is their false belief about, is that vehicle the right vehicle that's gonna get them the result? The second false belief is like, if I believe that's the right vehicle, like what's the internal false belief? Like, I think the funnels are great, but I don't know if I could actually, I'm not technically, like whatever the internal false beliefs. And then third false beliefs, if someone believes, first off, I do believe that's the right vehicle, I believe I could do it, but then their brain's looking for some escape route, but I don't know how to do that. Or I can't do it because of some external reason, right? So those are the three categories.
And it's all stories, pretty much. It's genius. So one of the things, my old COO, really great friend of mine, we're still very close. He did very well on the first exit. He's like, dude, you're giving away all of our freaking secrets, man. What are your thoughts about just giving it all away? Yeah. But obviously you charge people to do it for them. Like it's a done for you package. What's your like thought process around that?
Yeah, I give it all away. What my belief is that people will spend more money for the same information packaged in different ways. So like I give all my stuff I give away for free on my podcast. It's awesome. If someone wants to buy it in a book, I have a book format. It's $10 for the book. Like same information packaged a different way. But the thing I'm teaching is the same frameworks I'm teaching at every single level. It's just packaged in a different way. So if you want to watch it on a podcast, cool. If you want to read it in a book, cool. You want to come and work with me in my office, and we're figuring out. But it's all the same. People will want to consume it different ways, and they're willing to invest, and they want proximity. And proximity is, that's what people pay more and more money for.
I love it, man. I got a few more closing questions. All right, so this is the biggest thing on my mind is the future. AI's here. It's not going anywhere. It's actually going to start compounding. I think within 2 years, it'll start writing its own code better than anybody. But what do you think the next 5 years look like?
It's exciting and scary. I think I'm nervous for you said half an hour ago about programmers. It's like in 2 years from now, I'll be say I want eBay and it'll code eBay. I want ClickFunnels. It'll build ClickFunnels. So for me as a software guy, I'm like, okay, that's scary, right? I think a lot of jobs, it's like people aren't going to need lawyers or accountants or most those kind of jobs because like I can have
or realtors or any
like all those things start. So it's scary for people who aren't used to change and stuff. It's exciting for those who are just like, oh my gosh, this is the change, right? So for me, it's like the place in my mindset is going like, where's the opportunity? The opportunity is in creating and building things that have network effect, right? So for example, like if every single person on the planet like asked ChatGPT to build them eBay, there's gonna be 10,000 eBays, but people are still gonna go and list their stuff on eBay. Why? eBay's got 100 million people a day to log in.
It's a phone.
Like it's the network effect. Like it's that. So it's like it's communities, it's personality, it's connection, and the people who figure that out are the ones who are gonna win. And so why do people buy information? Well, they're buying it because in 5 years from now, they're buying it because they connect with you as a human. They like, know, trust you. And number two, you've got a cool community they want to be around. Like the network, like that's, and so for everyone, it's like if you're building something right now, realizing the info is going to be less valuable, software is going to be less valuable, brand, personality, community, network effect is going to be the most valuable. So it's like building stuff in that, through that lens is where things are going.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I really like that perspective. It's excellent advice, the best I've heard yet, for sure. Give me one book that you didn't write, or two or three that are game changers, that are like, dude, this will change your life. That obviously the Bible's important. We all know, like the E-Myth Revisited. He's been in here before.
Oh yeah.
but like, is there anything that's not like mainstream that you are like game changer?
Man, I love books. So I have about 18,000 books in the last 3 years, all first editions, manuscripts. Like I collect rare books. I
know that.
I'm a little bit of a nerd that way. So Elsie Lincoln Benedict, most people know who she is. We're actually republishing her book right now, hopefully out next month or so. But she wrote a book set. It was a little book. She lived in the 1920s. She was speaking in arenas full of women. She spoke to over 3 million women in like a couple year period of time. But she was filling arenas back in the 20s, and she would teach personal development. And she would teach these different courses, and then she'd speak in big rooms, sell an event, small. I mean, just like what all of us are doing nowadays. She was doing it in the 20s, and she had an event she did called How to Get Anything You Want. And then she made a book series based on that. It was these little tiny books, and I found a rare first edition copy. It's been out of print for forever, and so we're bringing it back. And that's probably the most fascinating, coolest book I've found of all these books that I read.
I want to buy.
I'll send you a copy because if you read it, it's insane that she wrote this 1920s. Like anyway. So that's in fact Napoleon Hill in Thinking
Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie, same era. Yeah.
Thinking Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about this. He's like, there's this woman. She's filling up stadiums. He's talking about her. He was like watching this. He's like, how is she doing this?
Yeah.
And no one's ever heard of her today. So she like that book's insane. And then my favorite Napoleon Hill book because he's my favorite author. Outwitting the Devil is insane. I'm obsessed with that book. I actually got the manuscript from that book from the foundation, so I've had a chance to read like the original pages from his typewriter.
I love it, man.
So much fun.
Last thing I always do is I got to let people know what's the easiest, best way to get a hold of you and what's coming up that people should get involved in.
Oh yeah, I mean you can follow me socially if you search Russell Brunson. I'm all the places, but. In my YouTube channels, I'm actually each week I'm bringing in my old rare books. Like I spent $1.5 million for this book. Let me tell you the story. So like that's if you get into old books and stuff, it's my YouTube channel. But the best thing we do is I do an event about once a month called Selling Online. 3-day event on sellingonline.com. It's the cheapest thing we do, and it's probably the best thing we do. So,
anything you want the audience to hear that we didn't talk about? Final thoughts.
I think for most people, it's just most people in the world are dabbling. They're not obsessed. I think. I think a lot of times it's looked down upon, like, oh, this guy's obsessed with what, and like, I think if people find the thing they're passionate about and then just like put on blinders and just become obsessed, become the greatest in the world at that thing, that's where, I like what you do, like garage doors. Like in infinity years, if someone came to me like, this is what I'm going to be building, like, that makes no sense. And look what you built. Like, it's an obsession that's deeper. And I think if people will be willing to let themselves do that, because I think culturally there's a stigma about, like, that person's obsessed. Like, it's like a negative thing. It's like, no, like, the greatest things happen for people that are obsessed. Like, pick something you love and just become obsessed. Like, become the best in the world at. Like, I tell my kids this time, I don't care what you do, but whatever you do, like try to be the best at that thing and like read the book, study it, like get to the spot where like you understand it deeper than anyone else. And if you do, like, it'll change everything. I mean, the thing that I became obsessed with was 20 years ago, no one knew what a sales funnel was. Like, it was the dorkiest thing, but for some reason, like, I just like, this is the thing. It got me so excited, and I just kept going down the rabbit hole.
Potato guns.
Yeah, and 20 years later, it's like we built an industry based on this thing that nobody even knew before. We built, ClickFunnels, we've done over $1 billion in sales on our platform ourselves. Our clients have done like, I think 14, 15 billion in sales on the platform. It's just like, because I was obsessed with this nerdy thing that no one cared about. Like, be obsessed and be okay with it and become the best in the world at what you're doing.
I appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah,
it means a lot to me. I'm glad you made it out. And anything I could ever do for you, you let me know. And hopefully the audience took a ton from this. I'm going to get this on the Home Service Expert podcast as well. And I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, man.
And a great week. Thank you. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode. Like always, we're going to close it out with the Tommy Truth, which is a little slice of wisdom from me to you that can help guide you in whatever you're striving towards right now.
In business, I always got upset when somebody made a mistake. I'm like, why didn't you just ask me? And what I've learned is to let them fail. Let them learn. Just don't make the same mistake twice. Every failure is a little lesson. And if you're failing all the time, you're actually going faster through life. I always say, ready, fire, aim. Because I've made so many mistakes, I didn't hit the target, but you're still loading the gun. This time I'm hitting the bullseye every time. Failure is a great thing if you embrace failure quickly and move on. So many people are just afraid to get started. Learn to fail quickly so you can succeed quicker.
And that's it, guys. We'll talk to you next week.